So what is cruciate ligament disease? Well, let's start by explaining what is the cruciate ligament. And for that, let me start by drawing a person's knee. So your knee is your thigh bone, your shin bone. This is a human knee. And the ligament in question is, well, the ligament that causes us most problems is the anterior cruciate ligament, or you may have heard of the ACL. If you look at the knee from the front, it kind of looks like this. And you have another ligament that goes behind the ACL called the posterior cruciate ligament. Together they look like a cross. Cruciate means cross. And what it does is it stabilizes the tibia and stops it sliding forward and twisting. Now, we injure this in sports. So it's a soccer injury, skiers, football players. There's a pop, the ligament's torn, and then the tibia can slide forward, twist. That can start to crush a cushion structure that sits on top of the tibia called the meniscus. And that leads to pain, arthritis, it wears the cartilage. So anyone who's torn this ligament usually has it surgically stabilized to slow down that arthritis. And in people, what we typically do is graft in a new ligament from another muscle or tendon. Now that's people. The condition in dogs is different. Dogs, first of all, they have different anatomy. They walk, just kind of walk with their knees bent, and they have a slope to their tibial plateau, which we don't have. So if you imagine if you park a car on a hill, it's going to slide down the hill if there are no brakes on the car. Well, the brakes are this ligament that in dogs we call the cranial cruciate ligament, or CCL, only because dogs, they walk on all fours, they don't have an anterior, it just means the one in front. And the history is different. It's very rare for them to suddenly tear the ligament. More often, it's a degenerative process. People come with us with a waxing, waning, slowly intermittent history. You know, they chased a squirrel, they came up lame, then got better for a few weeks. What's happening is they're gradually tearing this ligament. It's gradually degenerating. We're starting to see some early arthritis in the knee. And then either they completely tear the ligament or they tear the meniscus, and then they become consistently lame and arthritis accelerates. Now, what do we do about this? Well, arthritis management is important, keeping an animal lean, regularly exercised, keeping their muscles strong, joint supplements, fish oil, things like that can help. But if we can stabilize the knee, we could slow the arthritis down more. To do that, there's a lot of different surgeries out there. There's surgeries like the human surgeries where we try and replace the ligament. We find those don't have a consistent outcome in dogs, partially because of the slope and partly because the graft degenerates. So one surgery that has a very consistent outcome we do very commonly is something called the tibial plateau leveling osteotomy, or TPLO. Now, if we return to our car analogy, we're trying to stop a car sliding down this hill. You can either put new brakes on the car or you can get rid of the hill, and that's what the TPLO does. The tibial plateau is this hill. We level it with an osteotomy, which is a bone cut. So we cut the bone and then we rotate the tibial plateau so it's flat. We need a bone plate in place while it's healing. And then we've changed the biomechanics of the knee so that when this muscle pulls up, this muscle pulls down, there's no longer that same sliding. The knee becomes what we call dynamically stable, and that slows down the arthritis in these dogs. This is what it actually looks like. The implant that we use is a titanium alloy advanced locking plate. The advanced locking plate system has a lower infection rate. And after surgery, these dogs, they walk on their leg within a few days. We want them walking, we want them bearing weight. That helps with bone healing. We want to get their muscles strong. We want to maintain range of motion. Just like if you had knee surgery, your physical therapist would get you moving the knee. That's important. But after surgery, we don't want them chasing squirrels, running, jumping, slipping on floors, because this bone plate, although it's quite strong, it's not enough for that kind of activity until the bone is healed. That takes about 8 weeks. So 8 weeks of restricted activity, leash walks, physical therapy. We take x-rays, make sure the bone is healed, and then these dogs gradually return to activity. Now, we expect 90% of these dogs to go back to good to excellent function. There'll be some arthritis in the knee, but we slow it down most with these. Our police dogs, they go back to work. Our agility dogs can go back to competition. We do have a very consistent outcome with the tibial plateau leveling osteotomy, which is one of the surgical options that we recommend for cranial cruciate ligament disease in dogs.